Imagine you're a young girl just enjoying life when suddenly you're kidnapped and sold as a slave to be used in a brothel. Our next guest founded Teshuah Tea. Their mission is to rescue girls from prostitution and give them safe, meaningful work so that they can provide for themselves. We're going to hear all about this spectacular work that they're doing on today's program. This is the Counterculture Mom Show. I'm your host, Tina Griffin, and our mission this week is just that, covering different ministries that do mission work around this globe. May you be inspired to give, volunteer, and possibly even start your own ministry. And now it's time to talk with the founder of Teshuah Tea, Brad Hopp. Brad, how you doing today, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm glad you're alive with the pictures that I saw so far.
Yeah, I am too.
Ridiculous. Okay, as a young father, you struggled to make ends meet as a farmhand and a delivery driver for fire trucks. First of all, don't say too much of the story because you got a phenomenal one. How do you deliver fire trucks?
I literally hop in them and drive them all over the country. Brand new $500,000 fire trucks. Yeah.
So did you ever see a fire and go to the fire and really
No, I can't stop. I don't have any. I know 911 has gotten some really nasty phone calls on me because I've had to drive by because I don't have any equipment. So,
Brad,
and you don't want me doing CPR. So
that's about it. Oh my gosh, it'd be so hard for me. I'd be like, I can figure out how to hook up this hose. Let me at it. Yeah.
I don't even have any hoses.
Man, oh man. And I love driving fast. So I got to look at that type of job for part-time here. Okay. So
you don't drive fast in a fire truck.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody gets out of my way. But anyway, with that said, you were delivery driver for fire trucks. That's the first time I've ever heard of that job before. Very exciting. Can you tell us what tragically happened when you were on the farm one day and how that scenario actually caused you to start something absolutely miraculous? Take us back to that tragic accident.
So we have a small acreage, about 4 acres, and we were doing some cleaning up, and I've taken my tractor through the ditch 1,000 times, probably 500 times, probably at least, but this day I had a heavy load in my loader, and I knew it was heavy, and so I decided to go in at a different pattern than I normally went in. Normally I would go in nose first, and this time I decided to go in more gradual and a lot more angular.
Okay.
And what I didn't see was a small dip that was about 3 inches deep, 4 inches deep, and it was just enough to pitch the tractor to the downward side and barrel roll the tractor in. That's after they've uprighted the tractor. It was upside down, and
oh my gosh.
so on that picture, you can see the driver's side tire is completely burned out. The passenger side tire is the one that I was under. Both of those tires were in the fire. I reached up. I was laying on my side on the ground. I've got that rear passenger tire on my pelvis rotating still because it was still in drive.
Oh my
gosh. I reached up and I find the axle blind. I can't see it. So I reach up and I find it and I push, and the whole tractor just goes hop. And I couldn't push you over with the weight the tractor moved with. And I live on a fairly major U.S. highway, coast to coast. And there was a gentleman from the local area that was coming by me and saw it go over. And I was out from under the tractor by the time he got stopped. And he's like, "Do you need help?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I need 911. I said I broke my pelvis, and I knew I crawled 5 or 6 feet away from it because I knew it was going to start on fire probably. And I think that was a subconscious thought because I couldn't tell, but I could hear the battery sparking, and so I just knew I needed to get away from it, and I crawled 5 or 6 feet away and laid down, and that was as far as I was going with the broken pelvis. So
that is insane. So you were hauling this load. The tractor tipped over in the ditch, landed on top of you. The wheels are still spinning in all of this. You broke your pelvis. What transpired from that working on the farm? I know you got involved with Samaritan Ministries. Share with us what God did through that tragic accident to cause you to start Teshuah Tea, which now is behind the whole rescuing girls from sex slavery, trafficking, all of that. Fill us in on how that all happened. That's phenomenal.
So with Samaritan Ministries, the way Samaritan works is all the members share their medical bills with each other. And so And part of the thing that I really like about Samaritan is the fact that only one of my payments a year goes to Samaritan corporate. All the other 11 payments a year go to another member.
And
And I really like, huh?
how much was your medical bills that you had to get covered because of what happened?
When it originally started, it was 150,000. With Samaritan helping us negotiate and everything else, we got it down. Um, we got it down under 70,000, or right around 70. I think maybe 73,000,
Sweet.
somewhere in there. And sorry, I'm having to go back in memory of ways, but it was about 70,000. And then then the Samaritan members covered all that, and our portion out of the whole thing was $300. So.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Okay, so we're doing a quick plug for Samaritan Ministries. I heard of them before. I have family members
Mhm,
that are with them. We're
mhm,
with Christian Medishare. I love them as well. Just
mhm.
phenomenal companies here, ministries.
Yep.
So people can go to SamaritanMinistries.org, sign up, and you basically share your bills with each other. It keeps the
Right.
cost down low, everything. That's so neat. So take us from that. You're injured, you're getting help.
Mhm,
Samaritan Ministries comes to your aid, covers a good chunk of that, basically almost all of it, of that
mhm.
bill. Your life drastically changed. How did it go from former farmer, which I grew up on a dairy farm, so when I see these tractor pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I would have survived that. And I could tell you horrific,
Oh
farming.
yeah.
So I can relate to that part of it. But how did you go from that former farmer life to now rescuing girls from sex trafficking?
So 6 weeks after my surgery, I walked out of my follow-up appointment, and 2 weeks later, I was hoofing luggage across Chicago O'Hare to go pick up another fire truck. So 8 weeks, and they were initially saying 3 months of no walking, 6 months of no working, and 8 weeks I've walked out of, or was walking across Chicago O'Hare, and I don't know, the accident seemed like it threw me off that year, and I had several different things that happened while I was out on the road, just stupid, you know hit some kind of a debris on the highway or something. Well, I got to cover the deductible on all those, and so at the end of the year, the guy that I was subcontracting from, he and I both were like, I think it's time for a break, and to go do something else. And so I decided to stop delivering fire trucks and started Teshuah, and part of that was that I'm obviously really big because I'm in Samaritan. I'm really big into helping people, and I wanted to be able to have something that I could, take care of my family, but yet at the same time I could help these girls, and so it's initially started that I was just gonna start Brad's bracelet shop or something like that, and buy the bracelets and sell them, and that was kind of going to be all I was going to do with it. But as I got into it, I'm like, this could really be a lot more, and so I talked to Andrew, my business partner, and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And, I'd like to split the profits with you so you could support the rescue mission easier and not have to always be focusing so much on trying to raise money.
Yes.
Let us help this,
Yep.
let us create this ministry where the ministry can help fund your work too and stuff. And he said, well, any profit I get from this is going to go right to the rescue mission. I'm like, that's a fantastic idea. Let's run with it. And so that's where Teshuah started.
Okay,
So
so two quick questions that why tea and why not t-shirts or shoes or clothing, type company, or like you said, the bracelet route. Why did you decide tea, and how did you come up with the name Teshuah Tea?
So Teshuah means it's the Hebrew word for deliverance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I wanted it to be something that really captured the essence of Teshuah, or I really wanted it to be something that captured the essence of our ministry. But I didn't want deliverance tea or liberty tea or freedom tea. I mean, some of those were taken or whatever, but I wanted something a little bit more
Unique.
unique and stuff. And I know people have a hard time pronouncing it or whatever, but when they
Obviously,
find out
I have a
what's
problem. I
that?
said Teshua. It's Teshua.
I, you know what? I think anything flies.
No worries.
It's Hebrew, so I think anything kind of flies a little bit. But
So how did you go from like one day delivering fire trucks to all of a sudden wanting to rescue girls that were kidnapped? That's wild to me. Like what caught your attention for that aspect?
that has been that's been something that's been in my character and my makeup since I was little. I mean, I remember when apartheid was going on in South Africa and Namibia. I grew up Lutheran, and we had a Dean Teshuah Simon Farazani. He was a bishop of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in Namibia or South Africa, and he wrote a book called Diary from a South African Prison, and it was horrifying. It was horrifying to see what they went through and stuff. And I'm reading this back in the late 89, 90 when I'm in high school and stuff. And so I had the Free Namibia T-shirt, and and it was something I was passionate about. But growing up on a dairy farm in Iowa, I really didn't have the option of I didn't think doing a whole lot with it. Well, when this option came along of doing something with Teshuah, it's like this is perfect. I can do something with business. I've always had a leaning towards business and being self-employed, and so I really didn't know a lot about setting up a website or whatever, but we meandered our way through it, and here we are today. So.
And how long have you been in the tea business?
We've been open 4 years. It's funny how God works, because I went to a Life Light Christian Music Festival up in Sioux Falls, South Dakota years ago.
That was the first music festival I ever spoke at in my life. It was 22 years ago. Love
Okay.
that group of people, their family. That is wild. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar.
So probably 7 years ago now, we were up there. I'd taken the kids up there, and this guy from Torch Coffee Company, he had a Rwandan coffee there, and I had him make me 6 shots of espresso that night. And all of a sudden I heard angels singing and bells going off, and I'm like, where have you been all my life? I mean, I'm tasting fruit notes and floral notes in the coffee, and I'm like, I'm in absolute heaven. And I'm like, I got to learn how to roast coffee. And so then I started practicing at home and just doing my own coffee for myself and stuff. And then when all this came about, then it's like, hey, I could start roasting coffee, and we could do the tea, and we could really feature the products that the girls are making and stuff, and be able to do a lot more with this. So, yeah.
That's so neat. And we're going to talk about how that all tied together, where you're now rescuing these girls, educating girls, are getting their own jobs. Just a phenomenal twist of events that came from a broken pelvis with a tractor roll on top of you. I mean, go figure.
Optimize your health. Protect against chronic disease. The most powerful antioxidant on the market. 172 times stronger than vitamin C. A breakthrough formula called C60 Complete, containing the purest combination of the world's healthiest ingredients. 28,000 positive effects published in research. Backed by top scientists and leading researchers. A patented NASA-grade formula that comes in easy-to-swallow gel capsules. Get $5 off your order by going to counterculturemom.com and using promo code TINA.
All right, back with more of Teshuah Tea with Brad here. Brad, how many adults and children are victims of sex trafficking? Let's talk about that, and then look at the reasons of why you decided to go that route for your ministry.
So there's over 40 million adults, or 40 million people a year are trafficked.
Oh my God.
And over 1 million of those are kids every year. And I heard a story. Or an analogy several years ago, and I'll see if I can tell this analogy because it gets me every time. But this little boy is standing on the beach, and he's throwing starfish back into the ocean, because there's all the tide has gone out, and all these starfish are along the ocean. And this elderly gentleman comes walking up to him, and he says, what are you doing, boy? And so, I'm trying to rescue these starfish. And he looks down the old man looks down the beach, and he sees just millions of starfish. And he's like, son, you're not going to make a difference. And the little boy picks up one starfish, and he throws it back into the ocean, and he goes, I made a difference in that one's life.
Absolutely.
And we've been able to rescue 63 young ladies from sex trafficking, and we've been able to lead 2 brothel owners to the Lord. And a lot of times people will go, those brothel owners don't deserve it. None of us deserve it.
Right. Right.
None of us deserve the grace or the forgiveness that we were given. None of us, if we really look at the depravity of man's heart and we're really honest, none of us deserve it. So, yeah, those guys don't deserve it, but neither do I. And neither does anybody else.
If we can get the people that run these brothels, connected to Christ and saved, they would be on the front of the battle lines to rescue how many more girls, because then they will get it. They are hot to
Mhm.
trot. We have to go after the people that we think Jesus could
Right.
never forgive. Those are the hot commodities right there.
Mhm.
You sent in an image that was a jaw dropper for me. I want to quickly read this for the audience. Nearly 4 million adults and 1 million children are victims of sex trafficking. 7 out of 10 of them are exploited in Asia and the Pacific region. It's a 97 or $99 billion a year industry. That is unbelievable to me.
Mhm.
Thank you for being on the front of the battle lines to rescue these girls. Now, you said that you have a business partner named Andrew that's in Asia
Mhm.
right now, and he's the one working on rescuing all the girls from sex slavery out there. Can you go into detail about what he's working on?
So he's actually he got locked out of Asia during the whole COVID pandemic. He came back to do some speaking for a couple weeks right as COVID hit. I mean, like, he got here January 29th, I think it was, or but before he came back, he was able to lead another brothel owner to the Lord on the 22nd of January. So anyway, so we've got these two brothel owners that have accepted Christ and stuff, and but he came back right before the pandemic hit, and so he has made a trip over there, but has not been able to actually get in country where he actually works. But he's got 36 pastors that are set up in the underground church. We've got these 2 rescue missions, and then the brothel owners are still working with the girls and helping them to harvest and process tea whenever the girls can stop getting locked down and everything.
So Andrew went over there several years ago. Now he's back in the States, but when he was over in Asia, he rescued girls
Mhm.
from sex trafficking, and then he
Right.
led several brothel owners to the Lord. And now those ex-brothel people are now training the young girls that were rescued from sex slavery.
No, we have 2. Okay, so here's how all this played out. So like 12 years ago, actually, 16 years ago now, I think, Andrew went over there and he started um, an American Fare restaurant next door to a 16,000 student university. And one day he needed some help, and so he put an ad out for a waitress and stuff. Well, this young lady came in and she wanted to work in the restaurant. So he said, "Okay, it's Wednesday. Come back in on Saturday, and I'll give you an interview." And so on Saturday, she was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock came and went. 10 o'clock came and went. 11 o'clock came and went. Finally, she shows up at 12 o'clock, and he's like, "I'm not hiring this girl." And but when she shows up, the Holy Spirit says, "No, I want you to hire her." And he's like, "Really? Okay." So he does, and he obeys, and she gets hired, and she comes on, and she becomes a Christian, and she brings one of her friends on, and she becomes a Christian. And both of these girls have a heart to see girls rescued out of the brothels. So they start taking, because in Asia is really, relationship is extremely important to them. So they take gifts into the brothel owners and gifts into the girls. Well, one day they take gifts into the brothel owner, and they say, "Hey, do you want to meet an American that speaks your language?" And he goes, "Well, heck, I've never met an American, let alone one that speaks my language. So sure." So he sits down with Andrew, and this guy gives his heart to Christ, and Andrew leads him to the Lord. And that guy set 20 girls free that day,
Oh
and
my
he gave them all
God.
bus tickets back to their home villages, gave them all severance packages, set them free, and then he started actually helping us rescue more girls. He knew all the boys in the club, so to speak. Their brothels are karaoke clubs, and so
Unbelievable. So
so you can go in and spend the night singing, or you can spend the night participating in extracurricular activities. And so what we do is we have a team that goes in, and we have 2 guys that go in and act as patrons, spend the night singing. And then while they wait for everybody else to get drunk, because the security guards are going around handing alcohol to everybody, these two guys wait for everybody else to get sauced, and then they go start a fight in the middle of the hallway. And and then the rescue team comes in with firecrackers, like big firecrackers, and really starts mayhem and literally goes in and starts grabbing girls and pick them up and carry them out of the building. And we get them into our rescue van, and we have a female staff along. She explains to the girls, okay, here's what's happening. We're getting you out of here. Do you want to come with us? And obviously 100% of them have said yes.
Yes.
And so then they go to the rescue mission, and then we give them an education. We teach them to read and write. We teach them how to do different crafts, like making the bracelets, the coasters, how to harvest and process tea and coffee, and all these different things. And then where I come in is I buy these products from the girls up front, and we bring it stateside, and then we sell it over here, with half our profits going back to the rescue mission and 100% of donations.
So if we go buy Teshuah Tea, I said it both ways there, I'm covered. That money goes towards your ministry, which then helps rescue girls in sex slavery, get them out of that environment, teach them how to do crafts, be living on their own, having their own lives enough to rely on that horrific lifestyle from the past.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's phenomenal. Okay. So where can we buy Teshuah Tea here in America?
Okay. So you can go to teshuahtea.com.
Okay.
So that's TESHUAHTEA.com, or I also made it easy and people can go to deliverancetea.com.
I love it. Okay. TeshuahTea.com, TESHUAHTEA.
Yep.
This will be on the show notes. That's phenomenal. Okay. I am dying to show everybody right now a quick video about more about you partnering with Andrew and what you're actually doing to rescue girls in Asia. This is just fascinating to me. I want to go there right now and check it out for myself.
Hi guys, I'm Brad with Teshuah Tea Company. I wanted to just take a minute and introduce you to our company and why we exist. We started Teshuah Tea Company as a partnership between myself and a friend of mine who's a missionary to Asia. He works with the underground church, he works with leper villages, but his really important work and the reason that Teshuah exists is because he and his team over the last 3 years has been rescuing girls out of sex trafficking. His team gets the girls into a rescue and rehab house where all their mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs are all met. They're given crisis pregnancy counseling if they need it. They're given an education. But then most importantly, or one of the most important things, is they're given hope, because they're given the opportunity to learn how to make crafts like bracelets and coasters and harvest and process tea and harvest and process coffee. And then what we do is we come alongside of them and we purchase these products from the girls, thereby giving them economic empowerment so that they don't have to end up being a victim again. We give them the hope and we give them the economic footing that they need so that when they leave our rescue and rehab facility, they're able to stand on their own. So that's why your support of Teshuah Tea Company is so important. Thank you for helping us support these girls. Thank you for helping us to bring hope and change into their lives. I hope you'll check out our products. They're absolutely beautiful products, fantastic world-class teas. They're made by wonderful young ladies that are really getting a brand new lease on life and a start in life. And so I hope you'll support our work. You can check out more information on our About Us page. And I hope you'll check us out on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest. And share us with your friends. Let them know what we're doing so that we can really make a difference. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.
Wow. Okay, a quick word from our sponsor, and then we are going to find out how to get our hands on some Teshuah tea and support this ministry and help rescue these young women ourselves. Tragically, an unplanned pregnancy can lead to desperate measures. That's where Preborn steps in, supporting these moms with free ultrasounds to introduce them to their baby and help them choose life. One ultrasound is just $28 and $140 rescues 5 babies. Please help us save 2,000 babies by sponsoring ultrasounds. To donate, dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Let's save lives together. Teshuah Tea. There, I got it from both ways again. I'm getting better. TESHUAHTEA.com. Last words of wisdom here, Brad. What do you got for us?
You can really make a difference, and a small purchase can make a difference. When people support the work that we're doing, we're economically empowering these girls.
Yep.
And we're economically empowering villagers in other areas of the world too. And that's really the the heart of Teshuah is by going into other areas of the world and economically empowering these people, we can help cut off that supply chain. And maybe we're not going to be able to stop all of it. I realize that. We can make a difference in several people's lives.
So many people buy tea and drink tea anyway. Let's support an excellent cause. Keep at it, Brad.
Yep.
Keep me posted, and I got to grab some tea.